jumped. She was a slim woman wearing a gray wrap dress and short professional heels. I was almost a head taller, even in flip-flops, but there was something commanding in her presence that negated the impression of smallness. She was pretty in a brutal way, with a high forehead, straight black hair, and an immaculate gloss to her pale skin. Her eyes were sharp and dark, and by the time I got around to greeting her, they'd run their way right through me. "Hi," I said. "Are you looking for Lindley and Flores?" "Yes, I hope you don't mind my coming in so early. I don't have an appointment." She spoke quickly, but with a tentative, deferential tone of voice. "Not at all. I'm Juniper Song," I said, holding out my hand. "I'm an investigator." "Rubina Gasparian." She shook my hand with a firm grip, and I felt the press of a ring on my palm. Wrong hand for a wedding band, but I saw that she had one of those on too. "It's nice to meet you." I opened up the office and Rubina followed me inside. I sat down at my desk and, before I was able to offer, she took a chair across from me. "So, Miss Gasparian, what can I do for you today?" "It's doctor," she said, then added, "though that doesn't matter." "Sorry," I smiled, feeling mildly caught off guard. "Dr. Gasparian, what can I do for you today?" She crossed her legs and folded her hands over the top knee. "I'd like to hire someone to follow my cousin." "We can certainly do that," I said. "All three of us are seasoned tails. That's kind of the bread and butter of this job. What can you tell me about her?" She produced a 4x6 photograph and pushed it delicately across the desk. It was a professional photo of Rubina in a wedding dress, with one arm around a younger woman in a lavender dress, unmistakably a bridesmaid. I took a long look at the cousin. She had the same pale skin and round eyes as Rubina, but she gave off a rugged impression, even in pastel chiffon. Her bare arms showed a colorful splash of tattoos, and her shoulders were broad and well-honed. She wasn't as traditionally attractive as Rubina, but she would never fade standing next to her. "That was taken on my wedding day, almost 6 years ago. The girl on my left is my cousin, Lusig. I can email you a more recent photograph. Her hair's much shorter now, and she has a piercing in her nose, which I made her take out for the wedding." She paused and nodded, making a note to herself. "I've known her since she was in my late aunt's womb. She's a wonderful girl. I love her like a sister and daughter, and now she's carrying my baby." "How's that?" I asked. "For a few reasons. Chief among them that I am 37 years old. My husband and I are unable to conceive. Since we want children, and adoption is out of the question, we decided on a gestational surrogate." I wondered briefly why adoption was out of the question, and something in Rubina's eyes dared me to ask. It didn't seem like my business, not that that always stopped me, but I bit. "Why was adoption out of the question?" "Here are 2 clues," she said, holding one hand up in a V. "My married name is Gasparian. My maiden name is Balakian." "You're Armenian," I said. Armenian surnames were almost as easy to spot as Korean ones. "Very much so. And as an Armenian couple, Van and I would like to continue our bloodline. There are only so many of us left." Forgive me if I'm off track here. Been a long time since world history. But you're referring to a genocide? She nodded. "Of course. It's telling that you're uncertain. Not," she added hastily, "telling of your ignorance, but of the Armenian genocide status in history. But that is a long conversation, and we were already in the middle of another one." "Right," I said. "You were telling me about a gestational surrogate. That means what, your egg, her womb?" "Yes." "And that surrogate is your cousin Lusig?"